Dr. King's Memorial, written by Kara Freed. Focus question: who was Dr. King and why is he important? Introduction. Each year, people of all ages visit the memorial that honors Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. in Washington, D.C. A large sculpture of Dr. King and some of his famous works inspire visitors. The time is always right to do what is right. Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Who was Dr. King, and why do we remember him? Dr. King was a civil rights leader. He worked throughout his lifetime for equal rights for all people. The South. Dr. King grew up in Georgia in the 1930s. During his childhood in the South, he faced racism and laws that were unfair to black people. Laws in the United States kept black people and white people segregated or separate from one another. Not all states followed these laws. However, many states in the South enforced them. In the South, black people and white people were not allowed to marry each other. Black children could not attend the same schools as white children. Black people had to use different drinking fountains from white people. Black people had to sit at the backs of the city bus. The front seats were reserved only for white people. Black people were not allowed to ride on the same railroad cars as white people. Black people, white people had to use different public restrooms. The law said that everything would be separate but equal. However, many facilities for black people were not as nice, clean, or well kept as those for white people. Dr. King's work. Dr. King wanted unfair laws to change and for people of all races to be treated equally under the law. His dream was that Americans would come together as one people without racism. He gave many speeches and spoke with many people about how to change the laws. Hate will never end hate. Only love will end hate. Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. King wanted to use peaceful or non-violent ways to make changes. He said there were already too much hate in the world to use violence to fight reasons. Dr. King and other leaders protested the unfair laws by refusing to follow them. For example, many black people had sit-ins during which they sat at whites. Only counters in a restaurant. They refused to move, and some people, including Dr. King, were arrested. Dr. King and his supporters marched with people as another non-violent way to protest racism and segregation laws, and they hope to make people, especially lawmakers,
segregation.
They hope to make people, especially lawmakers, realize that unfair laws should be changed. After marching in Washington, D.C., Dr. King delivered his famous "I Have a Dream" speech at the Lincoln Memorial in 1963. He affected many people with his powerful words. New laws. Because of the work of Dr. King and others, the government changed the segregation laws in 19 64. The new laws were fairer, and it is now against the law to treat some people better than other people because of their race. Do you know? Rosa Parks refused to move from her front seat on the city bus to a back seat at 1955 when she was arrested. Many people around the country became angry about her treatment and encouraged her to change the unfair laws. Black children and white children can go to the same school. People can see whether one on bus or train and in a restaurant, and same water fountains and restrooms can be used by anyone, no matter their race. Dr. King's dream. Dr. King wanted all people to be free, and he wanted laws that were fair for people. He dreamed that people of every race would get along. Today, the laws are fairer, but still work to be done. If I cannot do great things, I can do small things in a great way. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. When people visit his memorial, they remember Dr. King and his dream of fair laws and free people. They carry on his work.
Good job.
Why is Dr. King Memorial built in Washington, D.C.?
Click on the items with the red S. You did it. Perfect. Welcome to Sentence Unscramble. Choose how you'd like to unscramble your sentences. Classic Unscramble. Welcome to Classic Sentence Unscramble. Drop the words into the box in the same order you remember the sentence. Segregated. Many schools were segregated or by race. Before 1961, many schools were segregated or segregated to the soldiers who lost their lives. The memorial is dedicated to the soldiers who lost
One,
that
one,
Good job.